Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, welcome to another week, another episode of the Medicine Ball Podcast. You could have chosen to spend your time anywhere. You rock with me today. Thank you. I never take that lightly. Before we get into it, let my beat drop. Yes, that's right. Welcome to Medicine Ball with your boy LS3 to be exact. And if you ain't in shape, at least your brain should be. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Medicine Ball Podcast, where we focus on giving your brain a six-pack by exercising your mind. Now, exercising your mind means that you actively think about and deal with all situations by first seeking to do anything other than what you are normally programmed and or comfortable in doing. Now, if you're someone who struggles and wants to get better at thinking about things beforehand, as opposed to reacting in ways that require less effort, well, just like anything you want to get better at, it does require training, practice, and work. Now, I'm well aware that thinking about things beforehand as opposed to responding off instinct does require effort. And who doesn't prefer things that are easy? Well, the first step, my friends, can be very easy, and that's to begin to look at all things from an unbiased point of view, which in itself will increase your curiosity in life. Now, exercising your mind won't give you all the answers. You will, however, begin to look at things with more peace, understanding, and patience, while simultaneously equipping yourself with more tools and strategies to help you effectively deal with this thing called life. Now, before we go any further, I'm no doctor, no psychiatrist, no psychologist. I have, however, been diagnosed with bipolar disorder level 1 for 16 years. And to be honest, I got to a point in my life where I was looking at the person I was becoming versus the person I wanted to be. And that, among other things, required me to look at my mental health responsibly. So whether or not you're diagnosed or know someone who's diagnosed or have symptoms or just want to know more about it, it doesn't matter. Maybe you're one of the many people who could just use some tips, tricks, and different ideas to help you get through day-to-day life. Pull up a seat, kick up your feet. This is your family, man. Welcome home, no judgment zone. This week's episode 523, N.P.3. Let's get right into it. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, welcome to another week, another episode of the Medicine Ball Podcast. Thank you for joining in and spending some of your time with me. Whatever you have, make sure that right now, go click on like, subscribe, go and share it, go follow, go support the movement, and make sure that you're going to check out that Instagram, Medicine Ball LS3, because at this point we are having a contest giveaway for a pair of Nike Panda Dunks or equivalent store value provided by my bro, Soul World Atlanta, SOLE, Soul World Atlanta. Keep in contact with that. Ladies and gentlemen, I am wrapping up this season of Medicine Ball, and it cannot come at a better time for me. So we're going to get right into this week's episode. Again, like, subscribe, share, reach out to me. Go to the website, www.medicineballls3.com. Get the merchandise, all that good stuff. I appreciate you all support. And real quick, as I wrap up this season, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to make the follow determination, because I'm going to let you guys know what I have coming up here. But I'm pretty sure that next week is going to be the season finale, being that it's episode 24. Kobe is going to be my brother. It's going to be kind of talking more to the giveaway. The giveaway winner will be announced in May sometimes. I don't know if I'm going to do it towards the middle of May, but I want to continue to run and get as many people as I can to get a part of the campaign. But I am this week, depending on where you're listening, I don't want to give the exact day, but I am going on another quest, and I realized that this is good for me, and it's kind of something that's a blessing. I get a chance to go to Florida, so I will be in Florida, and I want to let you guys know, being that I'm traveling to Florida for some things, I'm going to be doing more when it comes to video content, and specifically my Wisdom app. I want to try to build that up so I can have an open forum where we could talk and discuss different things, whether it be relating to mental health, relationships, leadership, things of that nature. So just because I'm stopping the podcast doesn't mean that I stop Medicine Ball. I just put my energy into other areas. So I just wanted to let you guys know that I am traveling. I'm going to Florida. I'm going to be posting videos of that as well. Wildlife, et cetera, is going to be similar to kind of how I went to Oregon and Washington the last year. So I'm going to embrace it as an opportunity to be able to travel and do different things in my life. But of course, I want to continue to provide you all with great content. So I think it's important that I let you guys know what's happening. But if you're following me, you'll know all of this because I'll be posting everything. So go ahead out there, like, follow, subscribe, and share. Let's get into this week's episode, man. Episode 523, N.P.3. N.P.3. So as we continue, this I feel like the last couple of episodes have been geared more towards my particular diagnosis and real life situations that I deal with. Not real time, but almost real time for you all to put you kind of in my mindset and things of that nature. And even with this Florida trip that I'm taking, I have a good friend, and really, I'm not gonna get too much into it, but it's gonna be an adventure. So make sure y'all go follow me and everything. And it's a chance for me to explore. Now, if you've been following the podcast this entire season, then you guys know, I went from management to kind of being laid off. But you also know that I consider myself, at least, I'm not going to say business savvy, but I'm okay with money, right? I want to be humble. I'm okay with money and my ability to budget that and, kind of keep the lights on, like, period. And, you know, one thing that I'm realizing as I'm going through this growth process and kind of letting everybody see it real time as I speak to you guys and communicate with you online and things of that nature is that a lot of things that I've heard previously in my life, whether it be a song lyric or just some kind of knowledge that an old head is giving me or something like that, are starting to come up as I get older, and it's kind of scary and surreal at the same time. But I mentioned previously that Jay-Z, and I'm gonna say his earlier content because I don't want to get it confused. I know what I talk about when it comes to religion and things of that nature, and I'm very well aware of what goes on in the music industry. So I have had to stop myself from saying that Jay-Z is my favorite artist, but I'll just say somebody I like to listen to, right? And that's just to cover all bases for the people who, if you know, you know. But one quote that he has two quotes actually that me and my brother both have tattooed on us. I know, right? But one of the quotes is "No guts, no glory," and then the other quote is "No pain, no profit." So I just want to pause right there for a second because as I discussed, just like the things that I go through and the way that you could kind of combat them kind of real time. And I'm not perfect as well. I kind of let you guys see my thought process and the things that I try to coach, whether it be people I'm mentoring outside of the show or just in real life. I try to show how I apply it to my situations instead of just being a spectator. But no pain, no profit. And the name of this episode is N.P.3. So those are two of the MPs right there. No pain, no profit. But we're going to get to the end. But I want to start right there with pain. Pain, by definition, and I'm giving just a rough definition, is suffering or discomfort, right? However, if you continue to go look it up, it also means to take great care or effort. And I'll use it in a sentence. Mary took pain to make sure that the house was clean and spotless before the Christmas party. So it also means to take great care or effort. Now, the more effort and care that you have to put into something, there's more time that's required for that process. So let's give you an example. I know I always use music and all of that, but let's just give you a everyday example. The time and the effort that requires you to maybe cook a home cooked stir fry meal with the vegetables and go get the chicken, not anything processed, versus something you could just throw into the microwave. The effort and the care that you put into it is relative to that time. If you're cooking something from scratch, I know me, when if I'm making a stir fry, I'm definitely getting the peppers and cutting them individually, right? I'm getting the onions and I'm cutting them individually, right? I'm breaking it down. I might get the noodles if I'm using noodles and boil them first. You're taking care and you're putting into that effort. So I just want to kind of keep that in mind that when we look at pain, it is a suffering or a discomfort, but it also means to take great care or effort. So I want to relate the great care effort price to time. Now I want to pause on that for a second and go to the suffering or discomfort. I read a lot of books. I do a lot of self development. I do a lot of, studying and just accountability, whether it be church groups, the people that I talk to, the people that I watch, and all of that. And I can tell you one thing has been consistent across all the information that I have acquired, especially when it comes to behavioral patterns, habits, and things of that nature. One thing has been consistent across all of that. Most people don't have it in them, and it's not to say that you're bad. It just takes an incredible amount of like self-discipline and effort, right? But most people don't have it in them to put in the effort required to change a habit, pattern, or behavior until they're in an uncomfortable situation. So just building off of that, back to like what I said, as I get older, I realize things that like growing pains. They call them growing pains. Even the medical term, your bones are stretching and things are happening, right? So it's gonna be some kind of suffering or discomfort, because 9 times out of 10, really 10 times out of 10, that's gonna trigger some type of action. Now we don't know if it's gonna be the right action, but it's gonna trigger something off of you. If it's a growing pain, at the bare minimum, you're gonna have to buy uh bigger clothes, bigger shoes, right? If it comes to something that has to do with the workout, right? Um, you may change, or you might push through it, so because you're realizing that, hey, this is something that's temporary, and in the future, if you're able to think this far ahead, this will help me with my endurance. So I want to just point out those two things about pain. So there is some suffering or discomfort. Now, even when I was talking about the other definition, to take great care of effort, even the suffering or discomfort, right? A lot of times things that pain us the most is something that it takes time to be invested in, something for us to pain us. Now, I want to go ahead and say I'm not talking about physical pain in this aspect. I'm talking about anguish, you know what I mean? Grief, hard times, a failing business, losing money on an investment. I'm talking about that, losing a loved one. I'm not talking about something physical. That's something different. Even though a lot of the same principles apply, if somebody's doing something physical to you, you're gonna get out the way, you know what I mean? But anyway, I want to relate all of this to time, because most people will tell you, and I'm sure you as well, time is the most valuable thing we have, right? Because if you don't have any money, if you properly invest your time, it is a sort of currency. I call it timoleons. Thank you for spending what you spending your timoleons on. If you don't have money, what you invest your time in can get you money. You know what I mean? Or even if you have a little money, if you put it in the bank properly and invest, time will bring you back money. But regardless, time is the most valuable thing we have. So when we start to put all of those things together, how the investing of time, whether it's monetary, knowledge wise, or wisdom, brings gains, now we can start to understand the first NP, or the first two NPs: no pain, no profit. Long story short, why sometimes pain is necessary when it comes to profit. Now, boom, let's switch over to profit. What is profit? Loose definition. Profit is a gain, or a difference in what's earned versus what's spent. Now, pause. If you're not exercising your mind, if you're very limited, when you hear profit, the first thing you're going to think, now, me personally, I play with words, so I was thinking about like biblical, but most likely you're going to think about monetary. And that's one thing that I wanted to, want to talk about real quick on this show. And I'll talk about it on every show, but it's like, we have to change the way that we look at things sometimes. Sometimes some of the things that we're suffering with, or some of the things that we may have in our life that's adversity, if we really be honest with ourselves, a majority of the time we're doing it to ourselves. And just a minor shift in change in paradigm, or the way that you think, or the map to your thinking, can make you look at things a totally different way. So all of that to say, profit isn't just monetary. And if you're looking at it as just monetary, then you're not going to be able to do some of these mind hacks that's going to get you to a better place with whatever you're going through. And again, I spoke previously, I'm speaking to myself always whenever I get on here and I say my piece, right? So let me give you an example of profit, right? And I'm flip it in a business sense, and it's in the show notes. But when you put hours and effort and study into a business, and I will use just medicine ball as it, bro, let me explain something to you. Just from the marketing aspect, let me just name off a couple of things, right? SEO, AdSense, bots, website traffic, brand templates, brand colors. Uh, it's just a ton of things just from the marketing aspect. You know what I mean? Hashtags, the algorithms, the posting. I may not be where I want to be with Medicine Ball as far as the amount of people that I'm reaching. Side note, I'm over 20,000 confirmed listens just on Spotify. So shouts out to y'all. Appreciate y'all on that. But it's just like, bro, when you put all of that into a business and it fails, that is pain. That's pain. That's a suffering or discomfort, right? But I always say this, these failures always contain Lego blocks or lessons that you can only get from going through that experience. So even though you failed and you learned something, if you didn't at least go through that experience and attempt it, you wouldn't even learn what you learned. That's why some things like, I'm a Kobe fan, but MJ says I can accept failure, I can't accept trying. It'd be corny, but it's truthful. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It'd be corny, but it's truthful. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, and I always talk about this, even from a biblical standpoint, it says we should be thankful for our trials. Because even within that trial, there's something to learn. But if you're not looking at it the proper way, you're not going to be able to see that. And you're always going to be saying, why me? Instead of putting those failed pieces together to make a successful one. Right? So experience is profitable. And some people will tell you, most people will tell you experience and knowledge is more profitable than like actual currency. Because that knowledge and stuff, whether you have currency or not, will always be able to bring you in more currency. That knowledge is invaluable, even if it's a failure, even if it's something that didn't turn out the way you liked. Man, I've learned so much just from about society and attention spans and watch time and stuff that I wouldn't even know if I didn't even attempt this. And even if the podcast doesn't work out, which I'm going to continue to do, I have faith in the speaking and everything. I can take the knowledge that I gained just from the attempt and go so many more different avenues. So if I'm looking at just, and I always talk about this, I always talk about, the way that we look at things. I always talk about Metallica and I want to say Megadeth, right? We got to look at things the right way because it's profitable, right? So no pain, no profit. Now here's the last MP, because this is episode 523, N.P.3. No problem, man. Because when you understand what pain is and start to look at it a different way, and you understand what can be profitable outside of what's in your pockets, man, you could be profitable in character. You could be profitable in wisdom. You could be profitable in charisma. It's just so many things that you could be rich in other than this paper, which is nothing, right? No problem. Because you start to understand things like, well, hey, I might have failed this one, but future attempts are gonna be easier because I know what not to do because of my failure. You may fail again. But like, bro, it's about the attempts. If you keep attempt and you keep adjusting based on your previous, sooner or later you gon' like, it's the science, right? Probability. You're gonna make something hit. Let me explain something to y'all. And when I watch sports with mainly, my sisters or my female friends, I find that the conversations with them about what I'm seeing on the court is always so much more in depth because I guess guys, I don't know why, but it just be little stuff that I point out. So for instance, I was watching a game with somebody and we were looking at, I believe it may have been Steph Curry who was having a bad shooting night. And that went into a conversation about like, yeah, but notice he keeps shooting. And then I started to point out to her like, yo, you see how when Steph Curry misses a shot, he doesn't get down on himself as long as maybe somebody who's a rookie. And then I started to point out like, yo, you see how him getting mad because he missed that shot allow his man to blow past him on a fast break and score a quick easy bucket because he's too busy clapping his hands and looking down or complaining to the ref. That's one thing I hate about LeBron, bro. This dude just be complaining to the ref, and while he doing that, his man went down court and shot a three. But all of that to say, bro, it's your ability to get over failures, right? We just had the NFL draft. Let me use this. This might be a little bit more relevant. They just had all this quarterback controversy, and I believe his name is Will something. Will is his first name. He's a quarterback who was supposed to go in the first round, and to my knowledge, he still hasn't been drafted. And when I'm looking at his film and like what could the NFL prospects have seen that most people don't see. I started realizing that like he gets down on himself. If he throws an interception, that's gonna affect him to the point to where he may not throw in that direction, even though the guy's open next quarter. Versus somebody like Brett Favre. You know why Brett Favre's great? He does not care. They call him a gunslinger because bro, he gonna throw the interception, and if that guy's open, the very next play he'll throw that joint. And if it's an interception, guess what? If that guy's open, the very next play he don't spend time licking his wounds and getting down on himself, because what that will do is that will instill a fear in you to when you do have the opening, you're gonna be too scared to go through the door. I use another metaphor for y'all: the old school crickets in the jar, right? You jump up there and oh man, it's a cat, it's a top up there. I can't jump up there no more. I done busted my head, right? Meanwhile, now the top is off of the jar, and you just gonna die in the jar because you don't want to jump no more. You ain't even gonna attempt it no more. Instead of being like, well, man, maybe if I jump at an angle and then mess around and find out the top is off of the jar. Y'all follow me? It's no problem. I always say this to people, and I always have to have these constant pep talks with myself because I gotta talk to myself. I gotta have these pep talks with myself. Bro, you have to look at where you were and where you are now. I saw a post today that said, man, are you being unhappy and everything? Why don't you pause and be thankful? Because a majority of us have the things that we prayed for just a year or two ago, or some of us shorter than that, right? So many things I could think about that I prayed for that actually came into fruition. And that's why you can't be mentally lazy. You got to always be aware of it, man. Bro, I got to thank God, bro. Like a couple of years ago, I didn't have nothing. Right, I was in a tough spot. I had no car, no income coming in. I didn't have a podcast at this time. I was just like in a tough spot. And when you in those situations, now you start praying for a car. Then you pray for a car. Then you mess around and end up on salary driving a nice car. Now you just, and I know I'm guilty of it, which is why I'm speaking on it. Oh, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? Even with this Florida trip, right? I'm seasoned. I know how the devil works, and I know how my mind works because I went through something similar trying to get to Oregon and Washington. So much adversity. We couldn't get the trailer hitched. Da, 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 da. So I know how these road trips go. I know the things that's involved with it. And as I get ready for this trip, change a tire, get the oil change. Oh man, now I need some new rims. Now I need some windshield wipers. Oh, let me do this, that, and the other. And it's like, through that whole thing, I'm chopping all this stuff out, all of my things. Now I'm to the point where even in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, man, I hope it's not a crazy drive. Like, it's just, it lets you pause and understand what you have gotten, right? And how your pain and suffering actually led to a profit to have you better equipped to handle these upcoming situations that's going to come. You will forever be in a rough place. So those are the 3 NPs. No pain, no profit, no problem. You gotta embrace the suck. I heard a military guy say that. But bro, one thing that I'm also finding out is, man, you could be a fool if you want when you look at these other content creators, or if you're a model, these other models, or these people who are actors, if you're an actor or whatever it was, you could be fooled if you want to, looking at their success. Shout out, check this out. And I don't even want to name drop her. I'm a name dropper because this is legit. I played with her brother, right? I played football with her brother. Gail Bean. I ain't seen one episode of Snowfall, right? But one thing I do remember vaguely, I kind of remember her being in like theater class back in high school. Straight up, the young girl from Snowfall, Gail Bean, but it's really Gail Mitchell because I played football with her brother, Lionel Mitchell, right? But it's just like you didn't think about that. You follow me? Even some of the things that I do when it comes to charisma and my ability to speak to people on a broad scale, bro, I had to think all the way back. My mother, no cap, it's on VHS, had me doing like master of ceremony when I was 3. Then when I got into a majority of white high school, I was playing Nick Bottom the Weaver. I was doing these acting competition, improv, and all of this kind of stuff. So it's like, be fool if you want to looking at somebody's thing. But man, I'm telling you, there's some pain there that somebody had to go through. And that pain is required for us to get a profit, because even if the profit isn't the knowledge, the profit may be the motivation to try something different, to try something new. All right? Yo, I am not going to hold y'all. I'm ready to go travel. I will be down in Florida, man. Y'all reach out to me on all of my social medias. Email me. We got the giveaway going on. I'm going to be interacting more on Wisdom and continuing to drop that. I know the algorithms for social media, so 3 to 5 reels or video posts a week. I'm gonna try to shoot for it with y'all, man. All right. Make sure that y'all go enter into this contest sponsored by my brother. I already have his episode recovered. I'm gonna see if I can get one more of my frat brothers on. If not, next week will be the season finale as far as the podcast episodes go. And yo, listen, 2 things every single day, man. Learn something and do something to lessen the suffering of somebody other than yourself. Realize that the pain is necessary, bro. You cannot you can't outwork the process. You can't avoid the process. You can't avoid the lumps. And it's arrogant. Even when it comes to, religion and the Bible and spirituality, I think I got even more closer with God in my relationship with him and everything. Once I started to understand that just because you live righteous means nothing, bro. You could be the nicest person ever, the kindest. You could save all your money. You can try to do things the right way. Don't cheat when everybody around you is cheating. And that in itself is a tell. But it's like, that's not going to make you, you know what I mean? You're still going to have trials, right? You're still going to have adversity, and you're still going to have issues. And as I, just kind of give people pieces of the Bible when I talk through my podcast episodes and stuff, bro, that's really what, like, the story of Jesus is about. For those of y'all who don't get it, I'm going to drop this. I'm going to let y'all go. They're like, why did he have to be fully man? That story doesn't make any sense. It's so that we understand that he lived as us so he can relate to us. Because if God didn't come back as Jesus, how could somebody who's higher than we can even think about and understand feel what it's like for us to be tempted, to feel what it's like for us to feel lust, greed, selfishness, anger? He can see it, but he's so, clean and so pure that doesn't exist in his behavior. So he had to send, and this is just a part of it, but he had to send somebody back so he can, it's like him coming into our world. He loved us so much so he could feel that. And that's why he's so forgiving when we do something. Because if he didn't understand those behaviors, he would just obliterate us. Like, yo, I gave y'all laws, that's it. But he understands. So we have to stop being arrogant and realize that, number one, God understands, but like Jesus went through trials, bro. And he could have stopped all of that from happening. And he still went through trials. So why do we think, and he was perfect, we ain't nowhere near him. Our good deeds is like dirty rags. So it's not reasonable, and it's very arrogant for us to think that just by us doing the right thing and staying disciplined and trying to go to church and praying and going about it, we don't get any adversity. Nah, that ain't how it goes. You're going to get the adversity. And your best bet is to make sure that your mental state is in the right mindset so that you can learn from the adversities and use them for when they come up again to be able to handle them better. All right. All right, man. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Tune in. Like I said, got the giveaway going. I love y'all. Until next week, this has been episode 523, N.P.3. Y'all stay up. Yeah.